Hello everyone, today I'd like to share with you a chess puzzle. This is said to have been created by a person called Al-Lajlaj about 1100 years ago. He was considered to be a chess master. There's a lot of references to him as a chess master in the Persian poetry throughout the centuries. So the rules of chess was different at the time. In the context of this puzzle, the movement of the bishop, or the elephant as they call it in the Persian and the Arabic world, the fil or al-fil, used to move two squares diagonally. In this case, the bishop can only move to f1 and f5. So this puzzle is called the Mate of Dilaram. So there's a story behind it. They said that there was a king who had four wives by the names of Dilaram, Jahan, Hayat, and Fana. Dilaram means the comforter of the heart or the soother of the heart. Jahan means the world, Hayat means life, and Fana means annihilation. And annihilation is the last stage in the seven stages of the Persian mysticism. It means that the ego or the self is annihilated and only reality remains. If you've heard of the idea of the non-duality, it is that sort of idea, so where there's nothing remains except the reality. There's no ego. Anyway, so this king is playing a game of chess with this prince from a foreign land. And the bet is that if he loses, he will give away one of his wives. So they play while the women watch the game from behind the curtain. So then it reaches this position. So you can see that the white king will be checkmated in the next move by moving the rook to a2 or rook to a8. So at this point, the king pauses and just goes to his wives. He looks at the first one, Jahan, the world. She says, تو پادشاه جهانی جهان ز دست مده که پادشاه جهان را جهان به کار آید. You are the king of the world. Don't lose the world or Jahan, because the king of the world needs Jahan. And then he goes to Hayat, life, and she says, جهان خوش است ولیکن حیات می باید. اگر حیات نباشد جهان به چه کار آید. Says, while the world is pleasant, but if there is no life, what's the point in the world? So then he goes to Fana, the annihilation, and she says, جهان و حیات همه بی وفاست فنا را نگه دار آخر فناست. Says, Jahan and Hayat, the world and life, they're not loyal. Stick to Fana, to annihilation, because that is the last stage which remains. And then the king goes to the last wife, which is Dilaram, and she says, Shaha durukh bede Dilaram ra made پیل و پیاده پیش کن و اسب کش مات or گشت مات. Says, O king, sacrifice the two rooks, but don't give away Dilaram. Advance the elephant, the bishop, and the pawn, and the knight, and its mate. So there you have it. This is you have to decipher that poem. So it says that you have to give away the two rooks and advance the bishop and the pawn and the knight to get the mate. So let's have a look. So you move the rook to h8, check, the king has to take. Then the bishop, the elephant moves to f5, check with the rook on a1. So you can block it with the other rook, with the black rook on b2, but that is not going to help. So the king has to move. The next rook comes in and sacrifices itself. The king has to take. Now advance the pawn, and the king moves to g8 and advance the knight, and that is the checkmate. There you have it. Now, if we consider this with the modern rules of chess, this is a mate in 3 problem. So let's see if you can find it. If you want to pause the video and have a think about it. If not, I'll go through it and show you what the mate is. So the first move is knight to h6, check. So the king has got 2 options, either going to h8 or f8. So if it goes to h8, we move the pawn forward. The king has got only one way, and bishop to 5, checkmate. Actually, thinking about it, you are still following the rules of the ancient time, and this applies. However, if the king goes the other way, then obviously it won't follow the rules of the ancient times, and it won't follow the poem that was suggested. So the king has to move to e8, and the pawn advances to g8 and queen and checkmate. So there you have it. That's the story. Let me know what you think.